Hello and welcome. Today, we're going to be talking about how you can make more money from your business. Like, I don't know anybody who doesn't want to know that. Now, these tips, these ideas, these things that I'm going to discuss with you, they're not quick fixes. I mean, some of them you can implement today. Okay, like these are things that you can implement today. There are some of those, but for the most part, this needs to be about changing your habits and your preconceived ideas about how to make money with your business, and that takes time. That isn't something you can just do in a minute. Okay, so some of these will work today. You can do this absolutely to start making money today, but some of these you're going to take some time to do. And let me tell you, anybody that's selling a get-rich-quick scheme is just that. It's a scheme. There is no getting rich quick. There is a lot of time and money and issue that goes with managing your business. So keep that in mind. Anybody that sells you quick, it's usually because they're selling you something, not because it actually is going to work. So if you're new here, my name is Taylor Darcy from Think Legal, where I help businesses and people thrive. I go live most of the time at 11 during the week. I unfortunately have gotten sick over the past little while, so that's why you haven't seen me. If you're new, or if you're not new, if you're coming back, that's why. Unfortunately, things happen with 5 kids and lots of different things. So I show up as I can. So I apologize. I'm going to get more consistent, but that's how it is. So let's get started, shall we? All right, so the first thing you want to do is sit down and take an inventory of all of what your offerings are. Services, products, whatever it may be. That means that you're going to take that list. You're going to make a list, okay? A little bit like Santa Claus. You're going to check it twice. You're going to do this over a bit of time. And you're going to see what products or services complement each other. What does that mean? For instance, once upon a time, I was a loan officer for a credit union here in San Diego. And where I would excel at was people would come in and they'd want an auto loan. Well, if they had a home, I would suggest that we do what's called a tax reward loan, which the long story short of that one is it benefits them in the real estate category as well. It benefits them in their taxes. So these types of things, they wouldn't just need an auto loan. They could get some interest deduction potentially with their auto loan. So that's called packaging services as products. So you're going to combine two things that complement each other. Someone can come into you and say, well, I'm looking for this, but you know about that, right? You know about these two products that go like, peanut butter and jelly together, okay? Somebody might be coming in just to get the peanut butter, but you're like, dude, check out the jelly, okay? Check out what we can do with you for the peanut butter and the jelly and the white bread or the wheat bread or whatever kind of bread you want, like sourdough, whatever it is. So you're going to take those two things and you're going to put them together and you're going to say, hey, we package these together for your convenience because these are things that people typically like to have together, okay? So that's packaging service as products. You're going to put them together for the people. And you're going to explain to them why it makes sense because they might just be thinking about peanut butter, okay? But they really would love a peanut butter and jelly unless they hate jelly, right? But that's part of getting to know your client, getting to know your people. Okay, so the next thing, this is something that's very useful. Actually, hold on one second. All right, I'm back. So the next thing is you're going to have value-added services or products. What does that mean? Say you're a carpet cleaner and You can also sell spot removal. Say you're a vet, you can sell hairbrushes, something that goes with the dog, right? Or flea and tick treatment, something like that at home, so that people are going to get something extra out of it. Now you decide how you're going to package that. Like that's the important part. Nobody can tell you what's best for your client but you. You know your clients better than anybody else. So keep that in mind, is that if you feel like that should just be part of the service, then you add it. If it's extra, then you would ask them if they want it as an extra. There's lots of ways of packaging these things in order to increase your sales, to increase your money. Okay. So the next thing is you're going to want to cut the fat. Okay. Do this monthly or quarterly at the very least. And what does that mean? Go through the things that you're spending money on. I don't know like what your products are that you would need, and look at what you can live without. What is it that you can do while maintaining the present service level without spending additional money? So if you can take those things down and save that money, that's a great way to increase what you're taking home, right? Like increasing that. Now, there's also another way of doing this that's helpful. If there's this product or service that you use all the time, okay, and it's something you're going to foresee yourself using for forever, then paying in advance, a lot of companies will give you a discount for paying in advance. So instead of paying monthly, which is what most people do for a lot of subscription services, they're going to pay quarterly or annually or that type of thing. And so it ends up being less expensive overall to pay in advance. Can you do that with everything? No, sometimes it's too expensive to do that for things. But don't feel like that you have to, that you can't do that with one thing because you need to do it with the next thing, okay? So the next part of this is, and I just realized, let's see, here we go. You're going to want to deliver a better experience than your competition. What do I mean by that? If you're not creating a better scenario that customers, clients, whomever you're working with isn't liking you more, you're missing an opportunity. Because creating a loyal brand, creating a people that are loyal to you is a much more sustainable business model than getting people that are just one-off. So you need to consider how you are selling to your potential customers. Are you building relationships, or are you just trying to get a sale? Like one sale, is that it? Okay. Studies have shown that people will buy from the same vendor multiple times if they have a positive experience. So by doing that, you're going to want to give people a good experience. Now, are you going to give people a perfect experience every time? No, I'm not suggesting that. But for instance, there's ways of improving how people view you simply by thinking like a customer, right? Like, for instance, one thing that I do with my customers, clients, is I will send them a personalized gift. It's a gift. I'm not expecting anything in return for it. I'm not sending them law firm swag and hoping they'll remember me. No, that's not the goal. The goal is to give them something that they will remember you that isn't about your firm or your business. So there's lots of different things out there that are personalized. So you personalize it to your client rather than to you. Okay. There's a great book on this called Giftology. I highly recommend them. That talks about the art of gift giving as a way of increasing sales. And I have to tell you, it's been fantastic. Another thing that's very, very true, very, very applicable is you need to market your business consistently. I see this quite common when they don't market consistently. They'll market when they quote unquote have the money. The problem is not everybody that's interested in your product or service is going to see your ad when they're ready to buy. They might be ready to buy in 6 months. They might be ready to buy in a year. They might be ready to buy in 2 years. They might never be ready to buy. But one thing that I've seen is people will just advertise haphazardly. So they'll just throw stuff up here, they'll do stuff there, and it just turns into being this thing where nobody's really getting to know your business in the advertisement category. So spending the money consistently and increasing your advertising budget, your marketing, is going to improve that relationship that people have with you. What type of relationship is that? Are you providing a good relationship with them through your advertising? Are you building that? And I can't answer that for you, but you need to do that. One other thing that you can do is remove unnecessary barriers to purchasing. I get it. I get a lot of people that are kicking the tires for stuff. And so I have barriers, but one thing that I try to do is critically evaluate if those barriers are excluding more than they're including, right? Because there are some people that I want to work with, and let's be truthful here. There are some people that I don't want to work with, and it's not that they're bad people. It's not that they have a bad case. It's not that they're bad. That's just not a good fit for me. Okay. And so when I'm working with someone, I want it to be a good fit for me, and I want it to be a good fit for them. And you should too, like as far as your customers or clients. But having a barrier to purchasing unnecessarily, right? If it's too difficult for somebody to purchase your product or service, you're doing it wrong. You're losing money unnecessarily. And maybe you don't need a relationship like me because it's just a one-off or it's an occasional thing that they need. So the relationship isn't as important in those instances. I mean, a long-term relationship. So removing these unnecessary barriers, like for instance, with my client intake form, I had it maxed out like as awesome as I thought it would be perfectly. And it was great for me, but it wasn't great for my clients. And so what I did is I've constantly looked at that intake form and taken out bits and pieces of it that hurt or potentially harm a potential client's reason to fill it out, because that's a thing that I want them to fill out before I'm working with them. And so when you do that, when you remove these barriers to purchasing, right, make it as simple and as easy as possible, okay, you're going to increase sales. Again, this isn't something that is going to happen overnight. Can you implement the procedure Yes, you can implement the procedure today. But people knowing about you and people doing what you want them to do with purchasing, that takes time. And it's going to be a refinement process. There's no perfect process. There are some that are better than others and some that aren't. And so you've got to take this opportunity to really evaluate whether this is working and do that consistently over time. Now, this is one of those ones. Rarely, if ever, discount your products or services. I know I'm going to get a lot of flack on that one, or potential flack. I don't know, maybe not. But here's the thing. I used to go to a sushi place, and their sushi was always 50% off, which means it was never full price. So why not just state that? It feels disingenuous if something is always at a discount or you're always discounting something. So today you can get it for this much off. Well, what about tomorrow? What if I wait? Versus if you are going to discount, have it as a purpose. Have it as an opportunity, right? Maybe it makes sense to discount, but maybe it only makes sense to discount for Black Friday or Cyber Monday or Christmas or fill in the blank. But don't do it just because everybody else is doing it. Do you have to do the same amount of work? Or do you have to provide, does the cost of the product, is that the same? Unless you're doing a discount with the intent of getting, improving your relationship or obtaining a new client because the cost of acquisition of a client is there, then don't discount your products or services. Because it also, and this is my big reason for not discounting your products or services, is it shows people that your product or service wasn't worth it to begin with. That you don't believe in your product or service, and so you're willing to discount it. And when people are asking for discounts, I'm not saying you can't do it. I'm saying, like, don't let it set that trend. Don't let it set that idea in their mind that you aren't as valuable, your service or product isn't as valuable as what you've already told them that it is. And I've found that people that, again, maybe I'll get some flack on this one, but people that are asking for discounts typically tend to be the most difficult. I'm just telling you what I've found. I'm not saying that's accurate of everybody. I'm saying that's accurate for what I've found. So take that with what you will. But again, if people are willing to pay full price, I typically have less trouble and they're better clients than clients that are asking for discounts. I don't know how to phrase it any other way. That's my experience. Other people, you might have different experiences. Your industry discounts might be standard. That might be how you have to run things. And I totally understand that. So I'm not saying this is right for everybody, but here's the thing. If your profit margin is X, can you really afford to operate on X minus 10%? Are you able to deliver the same quality of service when you do that? Again, those are things that you need to ask for yourself. If you can't, then don't discount. If you're just trying to get a customer and you can't actually afford to get that customer because of that discount, then don't do it. Now, exceptions being, for instance, like I was saying, to ways to make more money is take offers from people that are offering a discount for advance payment, because that's a soft product or service that they use, but that's based on that individual company. So take that in the way that you will, is that if you can take advantage of that and other people offer it, but that's just between you and that vendor, right? So, but you can do the same. Say somebody says, I want to make payments. Well, you can say, well, I'll offer you a discount if you pay in full. So it makes it more affordable. You get paid money up front. Everybody wins, right? But do that as your standard practice. Don't do that as what like the expectation is. And what do I mean by that? When people like just expect you to give them a discount. If you've already got it set up that way, that's fine. But don't, when people are asking that, it's usually because they are cheap. I'll be honest, because I don't know too many people that are that they don't recognize the value of service and are asking for discounts. Again, that's just been my experience. Your experience may be different. So thank you for joining me today. Again, Taylor Darcy from Think Legal. If you've gotten value out of this video, don't forget to subscribe and like. And know we go live Monday through Friday, except for holidays. And we'll talk to you later. Have a good one. There's a subscribe button. Let's go. Let's do this.